Hello and welcome. This is Carrie Quinn with the Officially Unofficial Geek Channel. And today, this is Collected Edition Tuesdays. We're back. We're better than ever. And we have our hair dyed. Yeah. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I finally did my hair. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about Nubia, Real One by L.L. McKinney and Robyn Smith. It was published by DC Comics under their YA banner. It's a graphic novel, technically. It was not released in single issues. I first heard about this on. I'm gonna give due where due is. If you watched my video from last week announcing what is going to be going on during October here on the channel for Collected Edition Tuesdays, you also got a little bit about me talking about how I was going to be reviewing this book here today. And you found out how I decided I was going to do that. I've always been a fan of the character of Nubia. I loved the Stephanie Williams comic book that came out a couple years back. I was a fan of that. Read it, loved it. Had been wishing for a while that there was something else out there that was newer to read about Nubia. Now, I have been catching this show regularly on YouTube. Okay. There are these two women that have a channel called the Pink Riot Comic Show. And they had the author of this book, L.L. McKinney, on for an interview. And I did not know about this book until they interviewed her, and I watched it. The reason why they're doing the interview is one, they're a channel that really loves to uplift people of color, creators, writers, artists, that kind of thing. So Ella McKinney, being a woman of color, was on their show talking about her book coming out soon, which is a sequel to the book I'm talking about today. So I did not know about this book, and I really didn't have much of a finger on the pulse of DCYA. Here and there, I would hear about things, but nothing really, nothing about this book. So I really enjoyed watching their interview of L.L. McKinney talk about the sequel and also about her career and other stuff that she's done in comics, and just kind of shooting the breeze with her about her work. And she seems like a lovely woman, and she is really cool. Okay, I'm going to tell you, L.L. McKinney seems like a really cool woman. I think that it's really cool because they were talking about like D&D, and they were talking about she wants to do a Star Wars, and I was like, man, what I really want to see that is a character person of color story in Star Wars would be at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Lando Calrissian tells the one girl that he's going to help her find her family. I would love to see a comic of that. And I mentioned it in the chat, and I would love in the chat of that show. I would love to see that as a 6-issue comic series. That would be absolutely lovely. I wish somebody would do it. And from what I've read here with Nubia Real One, I really want it to be L.L. McKinney, but here we go. I want it to be L.L. McKinney. Marvel Comics, you have the rights to Star Wars for obvious reasons. I want to see that book, and I'm going to put that out there in the universe that I want to see a book that's about Lando Calrissian helping that girl find her family. Okay? And I want L.L. McKinney to write it. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's all stems from the really great book that I had the pleasure of reading because of the interview that Bree and Keisha did on Pink Riot Comic Show. Check out Pink Riot Comic Show, seriously. There's other YouTubers that are out there trying to uplift diverse voices and diverse ideas, and they're one of them. And when you watch these women and see their passion and their love of comics and their mission of what they want to do with their time here on YouTube, um, and then you look and you see that they really just they need more subscribers than they actually have. They should be famous. They should be they should be revered. They um, are amazing on their show. You should watch them, and I mean that. Another person that does not need any help getting like doesn't need my input at all. Neither does Keisha and Bree. Those ladies, they need that push. And I'm a small channel, and maybe I can get somebody over there to look at them, and then the dominoes will start falling down more like, and they will get more and more attention and more subscribers, and get them up there where they deserve to be. um but another person that I really enjoy watching the content of is the Comics Are Dope channel, and that's with BJ Kicks. He is amazing. He has an encyclopedia knowledge of the Milestone universe. And if you are at all interested in the DC Milestone universe, get thee over to his channel, because he has got the brain that is chock full of all of that. But anyways, guys, I'm not here to talk about other YouTubers, but I will. Obviously, especially these two channels. And you know what, if I'm going to talk about Nubia Real One, if I'm going to talk about LL McKinney, if I'm going to talk about Robyn Smith, who did the art on this book, uh, if I'm going to talk about raising up diverse voices, being inclusive in your reading and your thoughts and your thought processes and how you live your life. If I'm going to talk about that, I should take a little time to talk to you about the people that are doing that inspire me. And so there you go, right there. Two channels that are gonna be worth your time. Keisha and Bree at Pink Riot Comic Show, they do a weekly Thursday night live show. The chat is always hopping, is always fun. BJ Kicks at Comics Are Dope, they do a variety of things. He used to do a live show on Thursday. I don't know if he still does, but he's had some wonderful things happening in his life recently. So um, he does weekly comic videos though. So check them out. The OUG says check them out. 2 thumbs up. Anyways, another thing that's getting 2 thumbs up here is what we're going to here to talk about today, and that is Nubia Real One. Again, that writer is LL McKinney, and that artist is Robyn Smith, and this is following a young Nubia out in the world, in the real world, actually. This is the like, when it says Nubia Real One, it's awesome, because Nubia is the real one. She is a real one, and I love her. What's really great about this story, and I don't really talk about on here, my ratings that I give on Storygraph. Which if you are on Storygraph, please follow me on Storygraph at Carrie underscore the OUG, and you will know what I'm reading before anyone else. Before anyone else. I gave this. I went ahead. I went all the way. I went all the way, and I'm going to double check this to make sure I did rate it. I'm pretty sure I did. In my brain, I know I rated it, but my brain has been muffled lately. So, um, my, my 29 books this year that I've read so far. Okay. Where is this? Okay. Recently read. I'm still feeling my way around this thing. Yeah, I did. Okay. So I gave this book 5 stars out of 5. Now, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Well, because my base level is if I just enjoyed something and if I just enjoyed it at a base level, that's a 3 for me. Okay. So if I've got problems with it, it's going to be below a 3. Okay. If I'm thinking that it's really good, I'm going to read that shit again, then we're getting into the 4 and 5 range. 4 definitely is something I'm like, I will probably want to read this again if I ever am presented with the opportunity to read it again. And Nubia definitely falls under that category. Nubia, real one, anything, well written involving Nubia really falls under that category for me. Let's just be real. This woman is badass. 5 means that you've emotionally affected me with what you have written. I am changed in some way, possibly. I am emotionally affected by this piece of work. First off, it's this idea that Nubia is a teenager and Nubia has realized that she is different. She does have superpowers, this incredible strength. And she's lived a life that's been kind of uncertain and kind of sheltered because of the knowledge that her 2 moms, representation, her 2 moms realize, and they understand what's going on with her, and they try their best to protect her and how people will perceive her in public. And that comes off as being sheltered at times for Nubia. So that's kind of how that works out. And so you have this kid that is just trying to do the right thing for herself, for her friends, for her family, for her community, and often ends up getting into this whole area of kind of a danger area involving letting people in on her superhero secret. So there's a lot of different things going on in here. There's a lot of themes going on in here, and I'm going to tell you right now that there is definitely the idea of man versus the law, man versus nature, man versus woman versus the law, woman versus nature, woman versus society. There are themes of fighting against racial stereotypes, fighting against societal stereotypes of women, not just women, but people of color, women dealing with let's just say this thing is just chocked full of so many pushes and pulls in understanding a viewpoint of society that is not part of my experience. If you're a person reading this, you might get the opportunity to have a little bit more empathy for people in certain social groups. You're going to understand the need for you having better understanding for what people are going through. And as I feel that if you can't have empathy, because to me, empathy, and I used the word empathy already here in saying that it helped me build a better empathy. I'm going to say to me, empathy, and I'm going to say that that was bullshit. That was bullshit. The better word to use for me, coming from the place of privilege that I have, okay, is, and yes, I'm going to use that terminology because it fits. Me, coming from the place of privilege that I know that I come from, can never have complete definition, standard empathy for someone that does not have access to the same privilege as I do. So, if you can't have empathy, complete definition, great empathy is being able to know how to put yourself in somebody else's shoes because you have, in fact, been in those shoes. See, that's why I'm saying it's hard for someone in my place of privilege, um, in social situations, political situations, socio-political situations. It is difficult for someone like me to have textbook definition empathy, but I can have as much as possible sympathy. And you know, tell me if you think that I'm wrong in the comments. Um, but part of being a good ally is understanding that sometimes you need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Back people up, be there for them the way Nubia's family is there for her, no matter what she decides in the end. But always be ready to shut the fuck up. And that is always what I've tried to do. So, for me to sit here and tell you a chronological, point by point list of things that happened to Nubia. One, spoiler alert, that would be a spoiler alert. And I want you to not take my word for it. I want you to go. I want you to get on Hoopla because that's how I read it. I want you to go to your library. I want you to go to your bookstore. I want you to go somewhere and pick up this book and read it. Because this is about a teenage girl that's trying to find her place in this world with all the barriers. She's got all the barriers that any normal kid growing up in this situation like this has. She has all of those. But she's also got this extra added barrier because it's a comic book and it's a superhero comic book, and she's got superhuman strength. Okay? She's Nubia, for crying out loud. You are never, if you've never experienced reading something like this, where you get to look through the world in the eyes of someone like this, going through all the things that Nubia is going through. If you've never done that, you should. I think if a lot more people strove to have better sympathy and understanding of people that aren't like them, that don't come from the same, when I say not like them, I mean coming from the same privilege. If you haven't done that, then you should. If you haven't taken it, because, I was talking to someone the other day about this. If you go, the problem with people in sympathy or empathy, if you want to go ahead and call it empathy, everybody has blinders on. The world collectively has blinders on. And some people don't have blinders, and well, maybe they have a better understanding of the world. But most of the time, for anyone to understand and arrive at a place of better understanding, not complete understanding, because that's empathy. That's textbook definition empathy. That's unless you can say, I have been in those shoes, you cannot say that. Okay? So, in order to find yourself in a place of having better understanding, better sympathy for people, you need to, a lot of people with the blinders on need to be presented with something right in their face. And there's nothing better than reading something like Nubia Real One, to have it presented to you right in your face. And then go from there. Just go from there. I really enjoyed the very easy, breezy art. I really enjoyed the fact that it used a very beautiful pastel color palette. A lot of times there's a lot of pinks, a lot of purple. It's in kind of a contrast to some of the more stricter primary colors of other superheroes, including Wonder Woman. And that beautiful pastel pinks and purples everywhere allowed the story to flow really beautifully and put emphasis on where it needed to be, which was with the overall story overall. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to take any more of your time, just except to tell you, read Nubia. Okay, read Nubia Real One. I read it on Hoopla. Support your local library. And until next time, please read diversely. That's the best thing I can tell you. Read diversely. You want to know anything about my work, please check out my Substack and subscribe to my Substack. You're going to get up-to-date information on my writing, other stuff that I'm doing. You're going to get also some short fiction and other samples of my writing there as well. Please check that out. But I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thank you for joining me today for my review of Nubia, Real One by McKinney and Robyn Smith. And until next time, this is the Officially Unofficial Geek, and I'll be seeing ya. Bye bye.